Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Medicare regulations revive the so-called death panels of the Obamacare bill. I am Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel and associate dean of the law school. Matt, this is a situation that came up during the Obamacare bill debate regarding health care, and Sarah Palin is the one that I recall coining the term death panels when these bureaucratic panels were going to review delivery of medical treatment and end-of-life care and have counseling every 5 years for end of life. That was actually taken out because of all the public outcry. But now, while everybody was enjoying their Christmas break, Medicare has new regulations that slipped under the radar, and they not only revive the death panels, but I call them super death panels because now instead of having voluntary end-of-life counseling, it's mandatory end-of-life counseling, not every 5 years, but every year.
Yeah, you know, usually it's nice to be able to say, I told you so, or to be proven right. In this case, it's not so nice. Liberty Counsel, we had put out a several page report on all of the provisions in Obamacare before it actually passed. The death panels was one of them. Keith Olbermann with MSNBC attributed us for providing the information that gave Sarah Palin the idea on these death panel things. So we take a little credit there. But in this case, yeah, we're proven right. And but what's interesting here is the cover-up that they attempted in order to kind of slip this in. There was actually an internal memo within the Obama administration that said, hey, we got to keep this quiet. We can't let this information get out. Otherwise, Republicans are going to jump all over this and start screaming death panels again. Well, guess what? The information got out, and guess what? You're absolutely right. We're going to shine the light of truth on this this whole thing and reveal and educate the public on these death panels.
That's right. And in fact, the individuals in charge of putting this out were hoping that it would get no media coverage, but the media did pick up on it, and it's gotten a lot of coverage. The situation is one that's pretty common sense. Whenever you have a universal type care system managed by the government, the bureaucrats, you have to have rationing. You just simply don't have the money to go all the way around the spectrum. And so consequently, whenever you have that plus, and this is critical, you remove a sanctity of human life component to it, and you just look at medical care as a cost-benefit analysis. How much does it cost? What kind of benefit is this person putting back in the community? Then you have rationing, and that's what you have here with this new Medicare regulation. That's what you had in the Obamacare regulation as well in that bill. By the way, this bill, we're filing our brief this month in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals against the Obamacare lawsuit, and we should have oral argument earlier this year before the summer begins.
Yeah, our lawsuit is on the fast track in the Fourth Circuit. That's exciting. One of the two lawsuits here in Virginia will potentially be the first lawsuits to make it to the United States Supreme Court. Our lawsuit could ultimately be the lawsuit that undoes this Obamacare monstrosity. Matt, this idea of death panels, this idea of rationing, healthcare rationing, it is a fundamental aspect and a necessary aspect of socialized medicine. This Obamacare plan puts us on the path to socialized medicine. Rahm Emanuel, who was President Obama's chief of staff until recently, now running for the mayor of Chicago, his brother, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, is a huge proponent of healthcare rationing, and I know that he was helping to advise on the construction of Obamacare. And he has said this. He has said, in talking about the necessary discrimination against the elderly and rationing against the elderly, he has said, quote, unlike allocation by sex or race, allocation by age is not invidious discrimination. Every person lives through different life stages rather than being a single age. Even if 25-year-olds receive priority over 65-year-olds, everyone who is 65 years now was previously 25 years. So they're trying to somehow jump through hoops to
So
rationalize.
when you were 25, you got the same treatment as a current 25-year-old.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of help for you, though, when you've got an illness and you need treatment now at 65 that could actually save your life.
Yeah, it's uncanny, but this is the mentality. When you take individual importance and the sovereignty of life and the individual liberty out of the picture and look at what's best for the collective, this is what you arrive at, and necessary and a fundamental part of that is, as you point out, these death panels.
That's right. Well, we're going to be continuing to fight against this Obamacare bill. We were very active during the legislative debates, and in fact, as you mentioned, we put out a memo that went viral around the country. If you remember, back in 2009, that summer recess in August of 2009, with all these town hall meetings, people were showing up with our memo at those meetings, protesting what was going on. We obviously were very involved in that debate process, but when it passed, we filed suit, and we're now in the Court of Appeals. Our case was the first one now to be briefed at the Court of Appeals. We're filing our brief within the next week or so, and we'll be having oral argument sometime early this year with a decision later this year. And at that point in time, Matt, whoever loses will ask the United States Supreme Court to take this case. So we will have one side filing with the U.S. Supreme Court later this year to review this case, and in 2012 we'll be at the U.S. Supreme Court with this case or one of the other cases, but we're right there leading the pack at this time.
Now, Matt, let me ask you this. In the 700-page document that was released on November 29th for implementation of this Obamacare, they have this, what they call, quote, voluntary advanced care planning, and I love the Orwellian doublespeak by including use of the word voluntary. So what exactly does this mean? They will sit down with patients, and it seems to me that they can't help but, because of limited resources, pressure people to forego certain treatments that might otherwise be helpful because of the cost and so forth. Am I right?
That's right. Well, and before the doctors could voluntarily give this information to patients, now the doctors that treat Medicare have to give this every year to patients, and they have to put this in front of them constantly to do these end-of-life directives. Now, let me first of all say that I'm not opposed to end-of-life directives. You obviously have a right, and it's something that I would recommend that some people think through that process. If you're in a particular situation, do you want to have a DNR, a do not resuscitate command or code, where you don't have resuscitation in certain conditions? You know, you need to think through that. But the problem is I know what happens to the elderly. I know when my mom was in her elderly years before she died and she was admitted to the hospital, first thing that they want these individuals to sign is end-of-life directives. They don't know what they're signing. And unless you have somebody there who's competent and is aware of what's going on, they'll force these things onto people to sign, and they don't have a clue really what they're doing. Many of these people are not competent enough to really think through all of those ramifications. And so when you have individuals that go to their doctor every year now, mandatory, they have to go through this end-of-life counseling, there's no question that people will be signing things that they're not going to otherwise know about and otherwise would not want to sign. Yeah, people want to know that they can trust the medical care professionals that they're working with. Well, if there is an incentive within the medical profession with a directive that comes down from the government bureaucrats above saying you need to be pushing these end-of-life directives and pushing people to include do not resuscitate provisions and so forth,
then the people that they trust the most in instances like this can be the people that could ultimately be signing their life away in otherwise situations where otherwise they might still be able to revive individuals and they may still be able to have several productive years.
Exactly. Well, give us a call at Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776 for more information. Be a part of Liberty Counsel in 2011. We believe that 2011 will hold a lot of exciting opportunities. Don't get discouraged, get encouraged, and be part of a ministry that actually is doing something, not just saying things, but actually involved both in the public policy arena through Liberty Counsel and also in the courts through litigation, advancing religious freedom, life, and family, and then also through our sister organization, Liberty Counsel Action, being involved in the nation's capital in public policy and also all across the nation. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. That's lc.org. At the website, you can sign up for the Liberty Alert email. Also sign up for the Grassroots Action email as well. That's an activist email. Only sign up for that if you want to be part of the activism component of Liberty Counsel, because we have people that are wanting to make a difference. That's the email that does make a difference in America. Sign up for Grassroots Action right there on the Liberty Counsel, lc.org website. Also, make a contribution to Liberty Counsel right there on the website by going to lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.